Every day, billions of humans do something that quietly erodes their intelligence. They talk about nothing. Scientists call it cognitive disengagement. You call it polite conversation. Your brain calls it slow torture. The more you practice surface-level talk, the worse you get at deep conversation. It's a skill you're actively unlearning. Most people are running the same 5 social scripts on loop, and everyone around them can feel it. Here's the brutal irony. We've gotten better at shallow digital connections and worse at meaningful real ones. Your brain is always hunting for meaningful signals. When it only finds weather and weekend plans, it stops trying. Psychologist Arthur Aaron proved it in 1997. Sharing vulnerable, specific information floods both brains with dopamine, the same chemical behind falling in love. Deep conversation activates mirror neurons, the brain cells that create true human empathy. Small talk? They go offline. Shallow conversation overloads your working memory with low-value data. Deep talk builds long-term neural architecture. In 1997, 2 strangers who answered 36 increasingly personal questions reported feeling closer than lifelong friends. That's not magic. That's neuroscience. Your brain has a social homeostasis system. And like hunger, if you feed it empty calories, it stays starving. Your default mode network, the seat of creativity and empathy, only activates during meaningful reflection. Small talk literally shuts it down. Performing meaningless social scripts triggers measurable cortisol spikes. Your body literally pays a price for fake conversations. Research shows your vocabulary of emotional complexity directly predicts your social intelligence score. Small talk narrows that vocabulary. Studies show you can feel lonelier after a crowded party than after a night alone. The culprit? Every interaction was surface level. Imagine walking into the most important conversation of your career and spending the first 3 minutes talking about traffic. That's what most people do. Real attraction isn't built on what you do for fun. It's built in the moment someone tells you something they've never told anyone. Being likable isn't the same as being memorable. There's a CEO in every office who would have promoted the person who challenged their thinking, not the one who always agreed about the rain. 47 contacts, 0 connections. This isn't networking, it's collecting. Most relationships don't die from big fights. They die from thousands of conversations that went nowhere on purpose. The most socially magnetic people at any party aren't the loudest. They're the ones who know which single question to ask. Your conversations are an investment. You're either compounding curiosity or depreciating potential, in others and in yourself. Every awkward silence you fill with small talk is a meaningful thought you just interrupted. One genuine exchange in a 60-minute meeting outweighs 58 minutes of corporate small talk. Time is the only currency you can't earn back. Here's the real plot twist. The problem was never small talk. It was using it as armor against vulnerability. Elite communicators use small talk like a chess opening. Precise, intentional, and always moving towards something deeper. We were born knowing how to connect. Then society taught us to be appropriate. That's when the trouble started. Volume is not the same as connection. The loudest person in the room often leaves the most people feeling unseen. There exists a question so simple that it instantly ends small talk. You already know how to ask it. You've just been afraid to. Social media didn't teach us to connect better. It taught us to signal connection without actually making any. Being easy to talk to is a trap if it means you've made it too comfortable to stay shallow. Sometimes the most socially dominant person in the room is actually the most afraid, using small talk to stay in control of a conversation they can't lose. The most sophisticated social skill isn't being interesting. It's making others feel interesting. We were explicitly trained to suppress real questions. What you were taught as manners was actually social anxiety conditioning. The average person now has more honest conversations with AI than with their own friends. That's not a tech story. That's a relationship crisis. Every conversation exists somewhere on a depth ladder. The top rungs don't require a therapist, they just require the courage to climb. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, spikes specifically during vulnerable sharing. It cannot be triggered by discussing your commute. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar found humans can maintain about 150 relationships, but only 5 deep ones. Those 5 are built entirely on conversation quality. Every conversation you have physically rewires your brain. The question is, what are you building? Lisa Feldman Barrett's research proves it. People with higher emotional granularity have better mental health, better relationships, and better careers. It starts with the words you use in conversation. You don't need a personality transplant. You need 3 questions. Just 3, every day for 30 days. And watch what happens to your world. Here's the exercise that changes everything. Tonight, write down one person you spoke to and write one thing you actually learned about them. If you can't, that's your answer. There's someone in your contacts right now you've been meaning to really talk to. Not small talk. Talk. Send them this video, then ask them the question. One question can change the energy of an entire room. You don't need a TED Talk. You need nerve. If you're a parent, this is the most important thing I'll say. The questions you ask your child become the questions they ask themselves. Choose carefully. 5 words. That's all. What are you excited about? That's the conversation that changes careers, relationships, and lives. Study any elite leader, artist, or innovator, and you'll find the same thing. They ask questions no one else was brave enough to ask. You can share a decade with someone and still not know who they actually are. Real friendship isn't logged in years, it's logged in depth. In a world where AI handles every surface-level exchange perfectly, the only thing humans will have left to give each other is depth. Start practicing now.